Welcome back to Pete Lemaster Music. In this video, I'm going to show you a really powerful piano tool, which is arpeggiating a chord. Now, the word arpeggio might sound big and scary and music theory-y, but you can just think of an arpeggio as a chord, but picking it apart and playing it sort of one note at a time. And to get up to speed, there's no doubt it requires a lot of practice, a lot of time on the piano. But even a beginner can, using just the music theory videos on this channel, or there's just some amazing piano teachers on the internet and in real life. If you're watching, you're an amazing piano teacher. But so, I don't know why she'd be watching. So basically an arpeggio is the process of picking apart the individual notes that make up a chord. So I want to use the intro to Hallelujah because it's such a well-known song. People love it. Shrek might have been the best thing to ever happen to it, but it was already a really well-known song before that, okay? And so in that kind of scenario, it's this like G to E minor, G to E minor, C to D, back to G, back to D, okay? And if you were to just play the chords, it does sound really nice, okay? So like, well, I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Okay, it's nice to just play the chords. But the actual song sounds a lot more like this. Okay? And it's just slightly more complicated than knowing the chords. So if I can tell you, well, the intro to Hallelujah is G, E minor, G, E minor, C, D, G, back to D. Okay, so that is like the first opening section, and they play it like 6 times in that song, all right? If you know it's G, E minor, G, E minor, C major, up to D major, back to G, back to D. If you can find those chords and those root notes, then what I recommend trying to do is play the root note first, 1, and then with your other hand, do a walk up and down with, again, you're gonna hold 1 the whole time to get kind of the sound I'm doing in this video. 1, 2, do, 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 do. And to that, for that, you're just going to 1 and 2 and okay? You're gonna play those 3 notes and go up the ladder, do, 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 and then back down the ladder. And then you're just gonna kind of hold that last one a little bit longer, so. Okay, and maybe that would have been more helpful without me singing over top of it. But all you're doing is taking the chord, well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. Now you're, well, I heard there was a secret chord David played and it pleased the Lord. And actually, I think they do 2 of them each, so. But honestly, this is not a lesson on the Hallelujah, the song. I'm just using that as an example of how to arpeggiate. So this applies to any chord, okay? In one of our recent videos, we did a cover of Maxwell's Silver Hammer and the Beatles song. And at a point in that song, they go, as she's getting ready to go. That's this same concept. They're taking a E7, an E major 7, and they're picking it apart. So they're playing all the notes that would be in E major and E major 7, so that's adding a D in, and they play them kind of one at a time, and really Paul McCartney is singing them, but okay, this applies to any chord, not just the sequence for Hallelujah, which might be the most well-known, popular example of an arpeggiated sequence. But these are all over the place, and also if you're a songwriter, it can be a really useful way to find a melody to play behind your song. So if we're in the key of C, which is all the white keys, and we're just doing a classic like 1, 5, 6, 4, which is C, A minor, F major. Okay, so if we're in the key of C doing like a 1, 5, 6, 4, and you can't think of a melody that you should sing, an arpeggio can be a really cool way to be like, huh. So if you ever get stuck and you think you have something really like beautiful coming up and you just can't think of like how you should sing words over top of it, sometimes playing the chords is enough, but sometimes it's just so useful to arpeggiate those chords just to get your brain juices flowing. And also, it's pretty normal that while you're singing and you're in the verse or a chorus of a song, you're just playing chords, or like you and the guitarist are mainly playing chords, maybe with a little melody over top of it. But then in solos and stuff, if you are just ever at a complete loss as a pianist as what you should solo, but you know the chord progression, you can get away with a lot if you can just play a nice arpeggio. And it does not, first off, speed comes with practice. So if you're a beginner and you're sitting there going, okay, I get what I need to do, but I cannot make my fingers do it at the speed this video is going. Look, this still sounds beautiful. It's still an amazing thing to practice, and trust me, you do this just 10 minutes every day for a couple weeks and you'll be able to play. Literally just within a couple weeks of doing this every day, you're gonna get that up to speed. But understanding arpeggios also means you need to understand it goes past the 3 plain notes in one position, okay? So if I'm playing a C, or even like a C octave with my left hand, any notes in the chord of C in any position would still count as arpeggiating that chord, picking it apart. So if I played like from C, D, G, C, D, G, C, D, G. Okay, if I'm doing multiple octaves worth of the notes in that chord, I'm still arpeggiating. So as long as you know the 3 main notes that you're trying to play, and again, it's a little bit more advanced than I want to get today, but if you're playing a 7 chord, or a 13, or a 9, any other chord that adds in a funky additional note, as long as you know the notes that would be in the chord in a bass position if you were to play the whole chord, you can play those notes and you can actually play them in any sequence. Arpeggiating is specifically picking apart a chord. So the most common ones you'll hear on piano or guitar do follow a somewhat ascend and descend pattern, or you can do it in reverse. I mean, you can descend first and then ascend, but like that is the most common arpeggios you'll run into. So, you know, most of the time, if you're a total beginner, I recommend stick to the chords until you feel really comfortable with the chords. Then you can kind of think about your hand being in the same position you'd be in to play the chords, but instead of playing those chords, you're doing, all right, you're picking it apart. But you really need to understand what underlying notes belong in that key. So I'm gonna try not to do any more rambling anymore, but at any speed, it's just such a useful way to get a really beautiful sound out of a pretty beginner concept. So I hope you found this video useful. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. That sort of stuff helps me out a ton. We're obviously a pretty new YouTube channel, and the growth and support and comments I've gotten so far have been terrific. I really appreciate everyone watching these videos. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see covered on the channel in future videos, and be sure to throw your requests down there. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. Good luck playing music. It's an absolutely fantastic hobby to learn. It's so fun. It's so enriching and rewarding. So I hope your musical journey is going well. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.